Okay, you have your NFL Week 11 power rankings. So number 10, I had the Seattle Seahawks down 3 spots. They lost to the Buccaneers in Germany. It was not a pretty game, especially for their great offense. Smith did not have a good middle fourth quarter, and Seattle's offense just couldn't get started. The defense actually played pretty well, only allowed 1 points, but the Buccaneers offense was not that good, and they looked pretty good in the first half. And I think the Seahawks offense did all right. Their offense, I don't know why. The Bucks do have a really good defense, but the Seahawks offense just did not do well against the Buccaneers. And then number 9, the Dallas Cowboys also down 3 spots. A game they really should have won against a not a Green Bay Packers team. Dak Prescott, he had 2 really bad picks. Tony Pollard had a good game though, and Dak did throw 3 touchdowns, and CeeDee Lamb did have a great game. So their offense is still really good, but their defense, even though they've been top this season, they did not do well against the Packers. They allowed 14 points to Aaron Rodgers, who had not been playing well. Um, their defense just kind of disappointed versus the Packers, and they're still a very good team overall, but they just had a bad game where their offense made too many mistakes and their defense couldn't hold. And then number 8, I have the New York Jets. They were on the bye, so they didn't play, but they did get better. They do have a chance to win the AFC East now since the Bills lost. And I have the New York Giants up 2 spots. Another Giant-like win against the Texans. Not a Daniel Jones had a very efficient game. Saquon Barkley had a very great game. Their defense played well. It was just another Giant-like win. It was another close win, even though Houston Texans did have a garbage time touchdown that made the score closer than it looked. But Darius Slayton looked a lot better, and Daniel Jones, he was very efficient in this game. And even though Saquon, he's still carrying the Giants' offense, I think if they force it to throw it, Daniel Jones can throw it. And Giants, to me, their defense has also been playing pretty well and one of the more underrated defenses this year. And keep on winning. Number 6, I have the Miami Dolphins up 4 spots. The defense actually did well against the Browns. They totally blew them out, and their defense pretty much shut down the Browns' run game, and their offense, like always, was super electric. They actually got their run game going. Tua had another very efficient day, and even though Hill and Waddle didn't have a great game, their Miami Dolphins' run game, along with their passing game, makes them one of the best offenses, and their defense at home also plays a lot better. If their defense plays as well as they did today, and their offense continues doing well, I can definitely see the Dolphins make a deep postseason run. And my number 5 at Buffalo Bills, down 2 spots. A game they really should have won against the Vikings. Vikings are a good team, so I'm not going to drop them too much, but it's a game they really should have won. They stopped Kirk Cousins, and Josh Allen right now is making way too many mistakes trying to play hero ball. He's trying to force balls, and that's leading to a lot of picks. He already has like six red zone picks in the last 4 games or 3 games now, and he's got to stop doing that. He's making way too many dumb mistakes. And the Bills defense, they actually did pretty well against the Vikings until the last fourth quarter, where they did terrible, and they got to clean that up a little bit. But the overall defense is still pretty good, and their offense is still Stephon Diggs, a good offensive line, which could have done better. And Buffalo Bills, they still have Josh Allen, who's done very, very good this year until the last couple of games. And hopefully they can right that ship, because if Josh Allen keeps on doing this, I can see the Bills potentially missing. And number 4, I have the Baltimore Ravens. They're also on bye, so no change for them. Number 3, we have the Philadelphia Eagles down 2 spots after losing to the managers and losing their undefeated record. Eagles just made too many mistakes. Those fumbles, that last roughing the passer, which was not a bad call at all. Even though it wasn't a hard hit, it was a way late hit, and roughing the passer can be either you hit the quarterback too hard or you hit him late, so that was a very valid penalty. They didn't miss a face mask on Goddard, but who cares? They just made too many mistakes. That 2 fumbles, Hurts threw an interception, and the Eagles' offense stalled out too many times, and their defense a few long plays go, and the offense just did not look as explosive as it usually does. And then number 2, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. A good win over the Jaguars. Mahomes did great in the first half, but they let gas off the foot in the second half, which you don't want to do. Their defense did well, though. did well for the most part in the second half. And Kansas City, it was a good win, but not a dominant win that I think would put them in the number one spot. The teams that dropped out, none. I don't think any teams deserve to be in the top 10. Maybe the honorable mention for the 49ers, which I could have swapped with the Seahawks, but other than that, no teams dropped out though. You have a new number one, the Minnesota Vikings, coming off that great win over Buffalo Bills. And I still think, I'm not sure how sustainable it is, getting those close games, but the Vikings seem to do it. Their offense with Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson having a great game, very explosive. Kirk Cousins having a good season, and the offensive line improving. Their defense got to do better though. But it was the Buffalo Bills, and their defense did fairly well in crunch time, and they did have some picks, but Vikings, they're still the number. They beat one of the best teams, and you got to do that. So even with those close games, their offense in itself, I think is very good. So I have them at the number one seed. So there you have your NFL Week 11 power ranking.